The symbiote suit teased. How and where? I would like to know, mon frere. Well, I guess we gonna find out, ain't we?
What's going on, everybody? It's Warren.
Damn it, just started playing for no reason.
What's going on, everybody? It's Warren. Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder, where we talk all things Marvel and MCU. And today we have a really big treat when it comes to Spider-Man. And not just Spider-Man No Way Home, but the future of Spider-Man. For those of you who are unaware, Marvel Studios and Sony have officially announced that there is going to be another Spider-Man trilogy.
Right.
We are indeed going to be getting 3 new Spider-Man films. So the next Spider-Man film with Tom Holland is going to be Spider-Man 4. Now, what could these new films be about? Well, we actually have a pretty good idea of what Spider-Man 4 is going to be about, and today we kind of got a little sneak peek into that. It involves Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the Venom symbiote suit. So let's dive into it, but if you're new, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest MCU and Spider-Man videos. Now, spoiler warning, if you have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home, or if you don't know about its post-credit scene and the ending of the film, we are going to be talking about some major spoilers. Now, the news that there is going to be more Spider-Man films with Tom Holland's Peter Parker isn't that big of a surprise if you've seen the ending of Spider-Man No Way Home. We have a Peter Parker who is kind of finally actually Peter Parker in the MCU. He's now finally all on his own. He has his own crappy apartment like Spider-Man typically does. He's got his new suit, and he's going off to college. At least that's what the ending led us to believe when we saw that he had a GED book. Since everybody forgot who he was, he's not going to be able to graduate high school like a normal teenager. He's going to have to get his GED if he wants to go to college, and since we saw the book, we know that that's what he's going to do. So the next 3 Spider-Man films are going to show Peter Parker in college, or at least show him trying to get into college. But besides that, what Spider-Man No Way Home told us in the post-credit scene is that at some point in time, Peter Parker is going to come in contact with the Venom symbiote. And right now, we can all assume that this is going to be what happens in Spider-Man 4, since it was set up in the latest Spider-Man film. They wouldn't really tease that unless it was going to be the next thing that happens to Peter Parker, our Peter Parker. And again, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige did confirm this, and he confirmed that there are indeed going to be more Spider-Man films with Tom Holland, because he said he didn't want the fans to panic like what happened after Spider-Man Far From Home, where there was a lot of confusion on whether or not Spider-Man was going to remain in the MCU or not. So he told us that to give us some clarity. Yes, Spider-Man is staying in the MCU. Yes, there are going to be more films with Tom Holland. And today we actually have some official concept art of Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the Venom symbiote, and it looks freaking sick. This was created by Thomas Ducrest, and he did concept art for Spider-Man No Way Home. So this is official concept art, and you have to wonder if they actually planned for him to wear the symbiote in No Way Home at some point in time, maybe an early draft of the script. But regardless, we know that Tom is going to be wearing the symbiote suit in the next film, so it looks like this is our first look. And as you can see here, it looks pretty dang good. I think when Tom Holland finally wears the symbiote suit, we're going to have a Spider-Man and Venom film like no other, because Venom and Spider-Man wearing the Venom symbiote are two very
it looks like a
Venom, of course, is very big, he's very huge, he's very violent, whereas Peter Parker is essentially still Spider-Man, just with kind of enhanced abilities. And yes, he can get violent and he gets irritated, and the symbiote kind of does affect him, obviously, but his stature pretty much remains the same. So it's going to be very different than what we've seen with Sony and their Venom with Tom Hardy and Eddie Brock. And as you can see here, this looks pretty dang good. Honestly, this is probably the best I've seen the Venom symbiote before. I think it looks a lot better than Venom. Granted, it's just concept art, but I still think it looks a lot better. And we even have the Spider-Man symbol on the front, something we've been missing from Venom. But the fact that Marvel Studios is going to have a piece of the Venom symbiote bond with Spider-Man in the MCU means we can do the actual origin story
looks like
of
an oil
Venom,
painting,
where he bonds with Peter Parker, Peter eventually rejects him, and Venom goes on to find Eddie Brock and seeks pretty much vengeance or revenge or whatever you want to call it on Peter Parker for the rest of his life. He hates Peter Parker, so him and Eddie fight him, which is what we've all been waiting to see. Now, as far as Venom in the Sony universe with Tom Hardy, we are still going to be getting a third Venom film. However, based off of what I've heard and based off of how Spider-Man No Way Home's post-credit scene left off, it's looking like Venom isn't going to be fighting our Spider-Man, not going to be fighting Tom Holland. It looks like after Spider-Man No Way Home, there seems to be a clear division between the universes, between the MCU and the Sony Spider-Man universe. And this is where all of the talk of Andrew Garfield Spider-Man coming into the Sony universe is coming into the community. So for those of you who are fans of Tom Hardy's Venom and Eddie Brock and want more from that film, of course we are still getting Venom 3. And based off of everything that we've heard from Tom Hardy, it is going to be a film where he goes up against Spider-Man. Probably going up against another villain as well eventually, but Tom Hardy has made it pretty clear that he wants Venom 3 to be Venom and Spider-Man together. And lately this is lining up with all of the talks and reports that Andrew Garfield is not done as Spider-Man. He came back as his own Spider-Man in Spider-Man No Way Home, and he absolutely crushed the role. He was
I want to see both of them.
And I think he got redemption here. He got redemption.
I want him to get his.
The Amazing Spider-Man
I want Toby
movies,
to get another
not only
one.
with the fans, but for himself.
I don't care how fucking old he is.
For his awesome performance, Sony had decided
nothing wrong with having an older
him
Spider-Man.
as their Spider-Man in their separate Spider-Man universe. Now, of course, this is not confirmed at this time, but there have been a lot of reports from insiders like Daniel RBK and My Time to Shine Hello, stating that Andrew Garfield is coming back not for just one more project, but multiple projects down the road. Now, hopefully at some point in time, he comes back in contact with Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the MCU, but in the meantime, we're thinking that he could be the main Spider-Man for the Sony universe. They have a lot of movies coming out like Kraven the Hunter, Morbius, in which we do know that Spider-Man is at least in pictures in that film. Olivia Wilde is doing a Spider-Woman movie, and it just makes sense that there would be another Spider-Man in the Sony universe because so much is revolving around Spider-Man, which means Tom Holland will indeed get his own Venom Symbiote Spider-Man movie. And I'm sure it's going to be a lot better than Spider-Man 3. I love Tobey Maguire, he's my favorite Spider-Man, but a lot of people really don't like Spider-Man 3. So I think this film, Spider-Man 4, with Tom Holland wearing the Venom Symbiote suit, is going to get fans really, really excited. And there are really kind of limitless possibilities for this film. However, I do think we are going to get back to a more grounded Spider-Man since Doctor Strange no longer knows who he is. Happy doesn't know who he is. We can assume that the other Avengers don't know who he is. So he's on his
almost
own.
looks like
and I think that
exclamation
I
marks
think
on
we're
the.
going to be getting back to
What
more
is
of a
that?
true Spider-Man feel with the movies with Tom Holland in his next trilogy. But let me know what you think about Tom Holland wearing the Venom symbiote suit. Let me know if you like it, if you don't like it, and what do you think the plot should be for the next Spider-Man film where Tom Holland gets the symbiote? Who do you think the villain should be, or should they just do a Eddie Brock Venom
Looks
symbiote
really
against
crude.
Spider-Man? Let me know your thoughts
You know what
in
I
the
mean?
comments down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you don't
It's
miss
not
out
an oil
on
pun
any of the
either, it's
latest
just
MCU and Spider-Man videos. For live updates,
I don't
you can
know
always
if
follow
I
me on
like
Instagram and Twitter.
It's
As always,
interesting.
Thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.
Especially it was like always moving, kind of. That would be really cool. Alright, thanks for the news, Wonder. Make sure y'all subscribe to the Cosmic Wonder. If you enjoyed my reaction to this news, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and share. 10 million subscribers. Woo!